My trick is,
Mm.
or tip, would be I use, like in my soups or my stews and stuff, and I like them thick.
Mm.
I put in yellow lentils.
Oh, yeah, because they do break down
They
the more
break
they
down to
cook.
nothing. You don't
Yep.
see them. They thicken and they're healthy.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, and
Thank
they
you.
really don't have much taste to them. So
No.
you can't say, "Oh, I'm eating lentils." You don't even know it. But you eat something that's really healthy for you.
If I had only known that when I was sneaking things into the food all those years ago. Gdayall, and welcome to episode 83. Slow cooking. I can't say it like Phil.
Slow cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
It's like Old Man River.
That's right. And you'll come up with a song for this, I'm sure. It's autumn and the cool weather and dark evenings are creeping back in. I personally love it. I know many people don't. But there's nothing better to come home to than opening the door and smelling dinner ready to go.
Maybe at your house. Okay.
Hello, Phil.
Hey, Barbara. All right. So today's slow cooking. And yeah, it's got to be slow.
It's got to be slow.
And we're going to talk about the most popular,
Mm-hmm.
surprising, and favorites and rules and tips.
Yes, there are a few.
Yeah.
I mean, but pretty much with the slow cooker, you can just chuck it all in, basically. That is the beauty.
Sort of.
You
got to chuck in things that
go together.
Go together, first of all.
Okay, we all hope we're at that point, but
yes,
you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fun fact number 1.
Okay.
Slow cooking origins in this sort of thing can be traced back to 1936. So a specific pot, electric pot or pot on a stove just for slow cooking. And we'll just arrange. In fact, number 2, if you'd like to read that.
Yeah.
This is
the crock pots have always cost around $25.
It's
No matter where you go.
In America.
Yeah. Well, even here. Well,
they
get fancier ones now.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're the same price as when we first got married to now. So, yes.
Okay. And the crock pot took off in the energy crisis of the 70s, which we now have the energy crisis of the 2020s.
Yes, so maybe this is a very
draws less power than incandescent light. What's an incandescent light? Those are not around anymore.
No,
either.
the old light bulbs.
Yeah,
but much less than your oven.
Yeah.
So if you're being careful about your electricity, especially actually now with gas prices like going up, your gas oven.
Well, most people don't have gas ovens here. All electric.
There's some around.
You got solar panels, just cook in the daytime.
That's right. Now, fun fact number 3. Every time you take the lid off, it adds 30 minutes to the cooking time.
Whoa.
So don't mess with it because it's slow. There we go.
Well, what was that? Stubbs, the barbecue guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he had on one of his taglines was, when you're doing barbecue, it's got to be as slow as the Mississippi. Because if you rush it, like barbecue's a slow process.
That's exactly right.
Because the longer you cook, especially you're cooking meats that are not like a steak.
Yeah.
You're using poor cuts of meat.
Yep.
Like even ribs are pork. It's a poor cut.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be cooked for a long time to make it tender.
You got to break down all the
the connective tissues. Yeah.
Then that's when dinner starts sounding like a medical experiment. Yeah. And I think in the 70s with the energy crisis, but it was also both people in the house being at work. More often and now. So, you can get everything ready.
Yeah, put it on, go to work, come back. Or put it on, go upstairs and go to work.
Yes, that's right. And you can smell it cook all day.
Yeah.
I often wondered the times I did that if it drove the dog nuts. It's like, what's going on over there? So it's a very handy thing to do. And especially, that first little bit of winter or when, it starts getting darker and you're just more tired because it feels like it's 7 and it's only 5.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it's nice not having to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And so, Brendan, could we break with some slow music? Okay. All right. So we're going to go away now and come back shortly. we're back.
Yes, we are.
Okay, and we speed it up now.
Yes, that's right. Well, try to get through this quickly yet slowly.
Okay, and we're going to talk about the best things to cook in a slow cooker.
Yeah, well, often you want like cheaper cuts of meat, like Phil's favorite brisket.
Brisket.
I noticed that it's beef brisket instead of that pork brisket
Yeah.
that Brendan gets.
Yeah. Could be crap brisket.
Yeah, that's right.
People always complain, I made brisket and it's awful. Well, because it is awful.
Because
Yes.
it's brisket. There's pork shoulder, lamb shoulder, chicken thighs. And I forgot to actually put that on there. Beans. Like if you make
beans.
some good, that's
Yeah, chili.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably get that's probably one
Yeah,
of my
it'll be
favorites,
down here. I think I did forget beans completely. You can also use less meat in the recipes if you're trying to stretch things. As slow cooking really extracts the flavor from it and it goes through the whole dish. Now, some of the most popular ones.
Yeah.
So we've got
ribs.
Okay,
now I do my ribs.
Yes.
In a sous vide, which is another form of slow cooking.
That's right. So if we're not fancy and don't have the sous vide thing,
yes,
which one day maybe,
on sale at Costco this week.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
He's not looking
Mother's
at me.
Day is coming too. Oh, what Mother's Day?
That is right. Yeah. Now, pot roast. I love a good pot roast, and that's good. And you can just put and I love the carrots in a slow cooker. Actually, I put the pot roast on top of the carrots and the onions at the bottom, and just.
My father used to make a pot roast. It was like Italian style. Mm-hmm. So it had like chunks of big like tomatoes in a can, but the whole tomato.
Yeah.
Okay, and had a lot of onion, but I remember probably oregano. And it's just slow cooked it with a piece of meat that was tied up in a string.
Yes, yeah. I think mom want to learn that from Clara next door. She does something similar. I love mom's pot roast.
I always had pot roast with mashed potatoes.
Yes, and I remember mom going, make sure you make a well in the mashed potatoes to put the gravy or the juice in. I've got a cheaty pot roast recipe. So if you do it add a packet of ranch dressing.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
Well,
a little bit of
speaking of packet of ranch dressing, it has nothing to do with slow cooking.
But that's okay.
The big thing now is to get a packet of ranch dressing and pour it into your pickle jar with your pickles.
I think I have a jar of pickles that Ainsley has done that to in my fridge.
Ooh.
Might have to try that later. She will never know.
Coffee, no.
Well, mid-lunch. So, of course, soups. You can stick that in. I love doing that. And
Do you like my soups?
I love your soups. And
they're all slow.
They're all slow. And
because I like thick, hearty soups.
Me too. I don't want it to be like dripping off with it's broth and I'm sick.
Yeah, well, sometimes, if you're, like I had a lot of broth recently.
I bet you did. But I also, with the soups, you can cook it so it's done. But if you're having one of those days, you can just keep it on low all day long and just go back to it, which I quite like. Mm-hmm. And curries you can do as well, and chili.
Chilies. Who spelled chili? It's wrong.
Chili. Oh, yes. It's spelled like the chili, not that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So chilies are, I remember Norman making, that was like one of his classic dishes. All right. So we haven't talked about Norman in a long time, but he was one to make really great chili.
Okay, what did he do?
It was ages ago. He threw everything in it.
Yes.
And just cooked it for the whole day. Not on a slow cooker, but just on a low flame.
Yep.
And just cooked it all day long. And I know it had the beans in it. It had the chopped meat. It's chili seasoning and whatever else he put in, tomatoes and stuff like that. And just cooked the living daylights out of it.
Well, yes, that is good when you get like the chunks of, I do chunks of meat. And if I'm going to do it all day long, almost like stew meat. Yeah. But if I'm doing it on the stove, I'll put the ground meat in it, but I like your recipes because it's never the same way twice.
My recipe. I don't make chili.
No, but like your soups and
Oh,
things.
my soups, yeah,
because it's just like I'll taste it. It needs a little bit of this. I got this in the kitchen. I'll try that.
This is new. I'll put this in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
think about what other things to go with. And the other thing is on the chili, I talked about this a long time ago.
Mhm.
Put it in a bowl. Get
Yep.
some American cheese, put it on top, let it melt. Get the triangular corn chips.
Oh,
And
yes.
put it all around the sides. It looks like a big sunflower.
Pretty.
Yeah. Kids will love it.
Yes.
People, you impress your guests if you serve them chili, like for like a lunch,
Yes, I have
And
one.
they would be like, "Wow, how did you do that?"
Fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I'll have to try that. Now, have you done spaghetti squash?
I don't know why it's on the most popular. I have tasted spaghetti squash. Tastes nothing like spaghetti. Tastes nothing like squash.
No.
Just like,
Well, yes. Well, the thing is, if you do it right, it tastes really good. But doing it right means lots of butter
Yeah.
and seasoning. But the easiest way to cook it is in a crock pot because you don't need anything. You just throw it in there and let the heat sort of go through it. Because if people are on diets where they're not eating, any pasta,
right.
you can just shred it and it gives you the impression
That
of
you eat
pasta.
But you
But
can do
we
that
all
with
know-
zucchini.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's probably easier to get.
Well, then you have to go through the spiralizer and stuff. I actually quite like it, but then I season mine heavily.
Yeah.
Like it's not bland.
So it's not dietetic anymore with all the butter.
Well, butter's not bad for you.
No.
It's better for you than margarine. Fat's okay, good
Mhm.
fats. But I, garlic, salt, and all sorts of pepper and good stuff. Kills all the flavor.
Yeah.
But it's easier to cook in it. That's why it's one of the most popular ways to do it. It's the ease of it.
And then you got meatballs and sauce. So that's like, I don't know about Thai meatballs, but like
The cocktail
the
meatballs.
cocktail
Yes.
ones, like it's Swedish.
Yes.
Sweet. Yeah, that could cook all day long and be savory and gets all that flavor into it.
That's right. So you can have that ready to go. You can even have like frozen meatballs that you've done ahead and throw them in. It's great. The crock pot is great for starting things frozen too, like first thing in the morning.
Throw it in and let's let it cook.
And
And the other thing, which is
yeah.
like the most popular, at least in my neighborhood, it's slow cooking and or my old neighborhood,
Yeah.
is gravy.
Yeah. Gravy.
Not brown gravy. I'm talking
No.
about Italian gravy.
Italian gravy.
Right. That cooks all day.
Yep.
And it's done slow, right? And it's thick.
All the different meats in it.
All the different meats in it, and some red wine, and it's cooked, and it gets really flavorful.
Yeah, it's very good. You have to spend some time with the lid off on that one too, or else it gets, because you need to reduce. You got to
reduce it. If it depends on the tomatoes and stuff, but if you're going to cook it all day, it's just going to keep on reducing anyway.
Well, and I forgot to mention this when I was looking at some of the stuff. A lot of people use slow cookers with big families at home, like for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah,
they'll have everyone bring their slow cooker over and they'll put the mashed potatoes in one and they'll so you've got your own buffet set up. So not everything's tepid.
All little hot trays. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so with the cocktail meatballs and things like that, it's handy if you're bringing something in.
Mm-hmm.
We should do a work potluck. We talked about it ages ago, but I think we should.
Now, who's going to make stuff?
Well,
besides you and I.
Well, we'll assign others. We'll wait till Sean's mom gets back. She makes the best broccoli casserole, broccoli chicken thing. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah, I could have Jeanette make that when she made the other week. The grits and.
Oh yeah. Okay, let me work on this. That's some team building.
Okay.
Now, there's some surprising things.
Yeah. Steel cut oats.
Yes.
So this is like you put in the night before you go to bed. You wake up, you got hot oatmeal.
That's right.
Good idea. You can throw apples and stuff in there.
Well, and you do, because it just sort of gets all the goodness out of it in it. Like, breaks
but
it
down.
down.
You're going to have to prepare it before you go to bed, because by the time you're ready to go to bed, you don't want to do that.
No, that comes up later. Often there are things you can do, and you can stick the crock pot
in the fridge.
Yeah.
So you can do it when you feel like doing it, or when you're making dinner, and then have that, put that away. And then before you go to bed, if you remember to take it out and put it in.
Sticky notes everywhere. Don't forget your breakfast. But because steel cut oats are good for you, and they're better for you because it's, your body has to work harder to digest them. Yeah. But it takes about a half an hour to do them properly on the stove. No one feels like getting up and cooking breakfast like that.
And then you got the overnight oats too.
Yeah.
You pour milk in and you put them in the fridge.
Yes.
But that's more like a pre-cooked oatmeal. I think it
yeah.
wouldn't be the steel cut.
No, steel cut are the little pebbly things. You have to do
and
it.
I guess the Irish oatmeal's like that too.
Yes, that's it. And I think, and these, if you make a big batch of it, well, then you can ladle it out for the week.
Yeah.
But that first morning, it smells good.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about applesauce and apple butter, which
Yeah.
is apple butter is just applesauce a whole lot longer, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that takes all day,
Mm-hmm.
the apple butter, and the house smells amazing.
Yeah.
I love it's just that cinnamon. Maybe that's why we have all the cinnamon candles,
Yeah.
because we all want our stewed apples.
And they got lasagna. Yeah, lasagna. Or any baked macaroni.
Mm.
Now, leftover macaroni, just great baked. And you could even do that. Well, then it won't be slow cooking, but you could do it in the air fryer.
You could too.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld's wife,
Mm.
Jessica, she's got a very good slow cooker lasagna recipe. And it's just the layering through with the sauce, and you just let it go.
Yeah. And let it sit there, and the longer it cooks, it better gets.
It's very good.
Yeah. And rolls of bread. How do you put bread in a...
Well, you can. It's like a quick rise. So you put, so it's like that second rise in the oven sort of
Right.
thing. So you put baking paper
Yeah.
at the bottom of it so it doesn't stick, and you can bake rolls or like loaves of bread or
So they
bits and
wouldn't
pieces.
brown up, but
They do over time, or they can finish them off in
it'll
the
be
oven.
like, remember we used to buy at the supermarkets,
Mhm.
the brown and serve rolls?
Yes. Those are so good because the butter melts so well.
God, that was so good. They were crunchy on top. I got to have some of those.
I think they're still around at Woolies.
Oh,
Yeah, those are very good. And then people were
not Woolies here. No, I'm talking about the ones.
no, but they have brand and serve rolls here.
Yeah, no, but
Not like the good ones.
No, the little ones that were like that big.
Yeah, like almost
Yeah.
like a Parker.
And they
wish.
were like done like that in the middle.
clover.
You open them up.
Yeah, I can smell them right now.
And they were tasty and buttery.
My stomach's going to be growling on the way after this. Okay, and
baked potatoes. Yeah, well, you could cook a potato and put it in the oven for about 3 hours. Depends on the size of it.
Yeah,
and it just keeps on cooking until it dries out.
Well, you can still wrap. You can wrap them if you want. If you're not going to be around, wrap them in foil and stick them in, and they're done. And then you can just, if you have, anything in the fridge to put on them.
Yeah. And then you got bread pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Bread pudding is not like a big French toast.
That's right. Custardy.
Yeah, custardy, and you could use cully bread, which is sweet bread.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And then you could use which serve all year round now, hot cross buns. So they'll stop right at Easter with hot cross buns, and then they'll start up a week later
with fruit buns.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just missing the cross. That's the only thing it's missing. It's the same thing.
What are you going to do? How come they don't put a Star of David on it and sell it for, they can't sell it for Passover. You can't have roots of bread.
That's exactly why.
But for other Jewish holidays.
I don't know. Maybe we need to talk to people.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a recipe, speaking of Passover, with chocolate matzah. I was like, ooh, that sounds good.
Is that permitted?
Yeah, matzah, yes.
Yeah, I know matzah is.
But you can use the vegan chocolate, like the dark chocolate. And then they had like, I think it was nuts over the top of it. So it's got no dairy in it.
Yeah.
Okay, now we digressed. But you can do brownies and cakes in there as well.
So same as the bread.
Yeah.
Just slow cooking.
Just slow. And you can, it's sort of thing like, you're going to have maybe a barbecue or whatever, and you don't want to heat up the kitchen. You can heat up the crock pot. You can have your cake ready.
Oh, no, we forget. Well, I can put that as my favorite.
What?
I'll tell you now, because it's not on the list here, and it should be on the most popular.
Oh, well, okay, sir. How about cinnamon rolls? No, don't you look at his paper. Did you ever have a nun go around with a ruler and
yeah.
I mean, you take a test.
You want to see the scars?
Yeah. I was never that bad. It was just like that. Okay, I'll sit up straight. Do you know? Sorry, a quick aside. When Anna was here, I mentioned nuns. She goes, "Why do you talk about nuns?" I went Catholic school. She goes, "Oh."
Yeah. They never had the joy.
The joy of the pain and the sorrow. Now
the humiliation.
That's right. Especially during Holy Week, they're really cranky. Because we, Good Friday at home, you went to school and you had to do the Stations of the Cross.
Yeah, and you went home early.
Yeah, that's right. And if you didn't kneel well, you got smacked.
Yeah, don't put your butt on a.
No, there's none of that. Okay, now back to
That's bad memories. Oh, my God. I'm digressed. Oh, I'm
back
depressed
to
again.
cinnamon rolls. That'll make you happy. Cinnamon rolls.
Yes.
Cinnamon rolls. You
Mhm.
can do that in those in there as well. Actually, the next time we get our Pillsbury in, I might just for the heck of it see how the Pillsbury ones go in the crock pot.
You put them in a waffle line.
Oh, I've done that. That's so good.
That's got to be good.
Oh, it's so good. It's you can feel how bad it is for you though.
That's where you know it's good.
It was so damn good. Yes, and
Peanut clusters.
yes. So this is so good. So if you're making gifts, like we talked about last week, Mother's Day is coming up. You melt your chocolate in the crock because it's slow. It doesn't scorch it.
Right.
And then, so you've got a big pot of melted chocolate. You can stick all the salted roasted peanuts in there and just stir them out and then put them out on a.
Oh.
So it's.
I was just thinking if you have because ours is pretty long and wide. And as long as it's non-stick, most of them non-stick or porcelain.
Yes.
So, and if you do, it'd be like an almond box. Just let it melt in there, throw all the stuff in there, and just let it chill, and then just break it up.
Yep, absolutely. So it's quite handy for candies.
That's a good surprise.
Now, do you want to do your favorites?
No, you
first?
can do yours because you got a lot more than I do. I only got one.
Really? Well, okay. That's it's like the old favorites that you go to. My mom's stew. And actually, it's funny. My vegan child.
Yeah.
Because I said to her, look, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, what would be the one recipe that you would want that you go through the house and go, how does she make that?
Right.
And she goes, she first went for like Thanksgiving dishes. And she goes, no, grandma's stew. So she goes, even though I can't really have it anymore, it's so good.
She could have it.
She could have it. That's right. So stew. And it's stew
Wouldn't
meat.
be like when she eats it and her body starts going, what is this? I gotta digest meat now.
Oh well, yes, maybe one day. So with the stew, the trick is when you're making things that have, like if I do stew, I have to remember that I need to reduce it and take the lid off for a while, or use less liquid, which will come up with tips because the liquid doesn't really reduce.
No,
in
because
a crock pot.
It just evaporates, goes to the top, and drifts back down again.
Yeah, that's right. So you have to, you'll be waiting forever if you're trying to reduce it. And I use, little things in there like Worcestershire sauce, sauce, little baby potatoes. If I'm doing the crock pot, I'll get real little potatoes if I can find them. If not, I'll get the canned ones. Just chop all the veggies. And it smells so good as I go through the day, and you can taste it.
Bread and mashed potatoes. You need to dip it in something.
And leftover makes fantastic burritos.
Ooh,
just get.
I was going to say meat pies.
Well, you could do that as well, but being the Californian, I do the burrito.
Exactly.
And
chimichanga. Oh God, I gotta put that on my list. What to eat when I'm over in California.
Yes. Yeah, I want a photo as well. Carne asada. So the same thing, I get a piece of a good piece of beef, like stew meat that's not been diced, and I cook it in spices and a can of tomatoes or whatever until it just breaks down, and use that in burritos, or if I'm making enchiladas, bone broth. Yeah. Right. If you're being healthy. So
don't you have to roast the bones?
You can. You don't have to, but like I'll get things like if I go to the Dandenong market, I'll get chicken feet or necks as well as like a chicken. The important thing if you're doing like bone broth, as it should be, is a little bit of vinegar in it because it pulls some of the minerals out of the bones. Oh, okay. And I will cook that for 24 hours or more, and it's just sitting on the bench, just cooking away.
The more it cooks, the better it is. The more you get out of it,
and that's right. And you've done it correctly, or you got all the goodness out of it when it cools and it's like gelatinous, because that's all the good stuff for you. But you can't leave a pot on the stove overnight without kind of worrying about it. So it's perfect for that. And I've made a fantastic like rotisserie chicken in it as well. So
in the crock pot.
So I will get a whole chicken and I'll season the heck out of the outside of it. Yeah. Right. So you can do that. Even if you've got one of the marinators where you can inject marinated, you can do that. And I put it on a bed of onions just to lift it up. You need no liquid. Right. And you just cook it slow for, I forgot how many hours, just you're not going to hurt it. It can go forever. And it tastes like the rotisserie chicken from Safeway or
See,
Costco.
the only thing, I guess, if it's cooked too much, which I've had overcooked chicken in my house, the dark meat's not too bad. The white meat is like, it loses all the flavor.
Well,
And
because
it
I
gets,
think
and
it's
it
in its
gets,
a little.
it gets stringy.
Well, this one doesn't.
Yeah.
When I do it, I think because it is in that protected sort of,
Yeah.
the moisture is still going through it. It's not drying out. I haven't cooked it till it's dried out. I'm sure you probably could.
It's been overcooked like when it's too wet, and then all the flavor and everything's out of it. Like, throw it away. We got the soup, but the meat tastes awful. Throw the meat out and just.
No,
give me
well, the
broth.
meat is the star because there's no liquid in it. It's just the meat.
For your thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, you're right. You can't if you overcook it, it's a bit sad.
Mhm.
Now I will do well, your gravy, spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
It's like right.
No, two different things.
Yeah, well, I can make a gravy, but I put it on spaghetti.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. This is the Anglo here. This is not Italian, although Mom's 23andMe says we're a little bit Italian somewhere. I don't know. And actually, I forgot something. Chicken adobo
Ooh.
is fantastic in it, and it's just basically chicken and onions and vinegar and some pickling spices and some soy and garlic, lots of garlic, and it just bubbles away, and it's beautiful. Those are my favorites.
So my favorites, right now I only got one.
What? Phil's one favorite.
It's baked beans.
Oh yeah.
Now baked beans are just unbelievable, and you could throw anything you like into it to spice it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just can't open up a can, especially unless you're buying Bush's, which is already seasoned and flavored. But even those, you juice them up.
Yes, absolutely.
And you could put like the recipe I have, you're putting bacon into it, onions, ketchup, can of Coke or Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
Okay, and it's really wet.
Yep.
Okay, and then you put it into the oven
Mm-hmm.
at a slow temperature and just let it cook for about 3 hours, and it just reduces and it comes good.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
It's like you scoop it out.
Yes, it's like
and it's solid almost. Like that's when you know it's good.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and I remember like in Kansas, the first time I had like real baked beans over there, they used to get the thick cut bacon and put that over the top of it and like the whole top, and then all that bacon juice is going down into the beans.
Oh, that's
too.
magic. I've had it with a ham hock in there.
Yeah, and actually, and there's also mustard in that recipe too.
Oh yeah,
dried mustard.
Oh, that would be so good.
And it's just, but I have done it where just added some brown sugar and maybe a barbecue sauce or something like that, and just to tang it up, and then just bake it anyway. And throw some bacon. You need bacon in it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Mom has never served beans out of a can without adding a whole lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when Brendan's family came to visit, everyone had this. Here's more baked beans. Here's this. Have more. I think they were a bit shocked with how much food that we had. But Mom's like, I've never tasted anything like this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and for all the Aussies listening, baked beans are for dinner. Okay.
Yes, there's no beans for breakfast.
No beans for breakfast.
No. Not unless it's beans, refried beans in a burrito of some sort left over.
What's that? Hunche rancheros. What's they called? I can never remember. The eggs and
huevos rancheros.
Yeah,
huevos rancheros.
Yeah, huevos. Okay, and then also on my slow cooking, I guess it's I really like to copy my aunt's or my mother's recipe for a lamb stew or lamb broth, like, and it's barley and lamb.
Oh,
you had
yes.
it, yes.
That was so good. It's nearly that season again.
Yes, it's nearly that season again when I could start making those things.
That's the best part of working at USA Foods.
And I can't think of anything else that that I like to slow cook. I'm impatient.
Well, yeah, no, I want it now. I stand it from the microwave. Is it really going to take 35 seconds?
Yeah.
It's too long.
All right. So some basic rules and tips. Now, here's a great one. It's, prepare it the night before. Or whenever you can.
And
whenever you're in the mood.
And there's a bunch of people that do like batch cooking. So like once a month, They
Yeah.
cook a whole lot of stuff, but you can do that with prepping. So if you know that this like white chili stew, like chicken stew that they make, you can just put everything in a Ziploc, throw it in the freezer.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, better than a Ziploc, okay?
Mhm.
Because now you could get them for, I've seen them in the things now for $49, and at
Right.
Costco there's $2.49.
Oh, I know what you're going
It's
to
the
say.
vacuum sealer bags,
Yes.
okay? So 2 things on that. I don't know how good the cheap ones work, but I'm pretty sure they work pretty well,
Mm.
okay? The bags, either you wait for Aldi twice a year that they sell them at Aldi.
Yep.
They're a lot cheaper than buying the ones at Costco or anywhere else, the Sunbeam ones. Or you just go online and you buy like 300 of them for $40,
Right.
Okay. And they all work fine. And the vacuum sealer, when you're doing something that you do it in batch, keeps it fresher. And
Mhm.
meats, like we go to the market and bring back meats, cut everything up, put everything, maybe season it also, put it
Yep.
in a vacuum sealer bag, seal it, and then put it in the fridge. No ferns ever. If you don't have a sous vide, you could put a pot of water up,
Yep.
cook and heat it up that way. I do all my ribs that way
Mhm.
and cook them and then seal them and then put them in the freezer. When I want them, undo them, then brown them off.
Oh,
Boom.
wow. See, that's some organization there.
Yeah, because you know how long ribs take.
Yes.
Right.
All day.
And then also, that it's a cheap cut of meat. So you're doing all your cheap meats in there.
Yep.
And it just keeps on cooking, and they get really good. And the more they cook, the better they are.
Oh, yeah. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Actually, I do like lamb. I'm now hungry for lamb. I have
Yeah.
not had lamb in
But
ages.
and then also, one I could put this as a favorite is like pulled pork,
Oh,
which is slow
yeah.
cook.
That's right.
And that's also something, if you out to the store and you get a shoulder or neck of
Mhm.
pork or whatever, you don't have to get the most expensive one, and then cook it slow, put nice seasoning onto it, cook it slow, and then pull it all apart. Take then at that point there, you could take all the fat out of it.
Yep.
And then put it into your vacuum sealer bags. Then you
Oh,
got dinner, whatever you want, or pulled pork, whatever you want.
that sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've got to think about my shopping list
Mhm.
as we go through that. Now, trim, except for the pork we're talking about, but if you don't saute your meat first,
Yeah.
if there's fat on the meat, try to trim that off
Yeah.
because it's not gonna get nice and crispy, and it's just gonna sit there and kind of
Yeah.
congeal a bit. So you
Yeah.
want to trim that before you do it. Or if you want to, like if I make stew, I saute the chunks of meat in seasoned flour. Like I put them in seasoned flour and brown it, and then I throw that in.
Yeah, but the other thing
right?
is, when you're using a fatty meats,
Yeah.
okay, if you chill it before you eat it, all the fat comes on top, just scrape it all
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, not using as much liquid when you're using the slow cooker.
I like to use a lot of liquid. You always cook better with a glass of or a bottle of wine, I should say.
One for that, two for me.
Yeah.
Now, as we said, this ties in the first one because it has a tightly sealed lid. The liquid doesn't evaporate. So if you have a standard recipe, it's best to reduce the liquid by about a third. I would say even more so, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, because all the moisture from whatever you're cooking comes out too.
Yeah. Now, if you need to, sometimes at the end, like if you haven't done that, and you might need to thicken it up a bit, you can always do that with make a slurry with either
A roux.
You can or a slurry because slurry is cornstarch.
Yeah.
Or
Oh yeah,
roux.
but you got to do it in cold water and
Yes,
mix it up
and
before you pour it in.
That's right.
Unless you want a lumpy.
And you don't want to be chasing around lumps of flour.
Yeah, no, that's too hard. But the other thing, my trick is or tip would be I use like in my soups or my stews and stuff, and I like them thick. I put in yellow lentils.
Oh yeah, because they do break down.
They
the more
break
they
down
cook.
to nothing. You don't see them. They thicken and they're healthy.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. And they really don't have much taste to them. So you can't say, oh, I'm eating lentils. You don't even know it. But you eat something that's really healthy for you.
If I had only known that when I was sneaking things into the food all those years ago. Now, use the low setting as much as you can because the slower it cooks, the better.
Yeah.
But I often, sort of like when I do a roast in the oven, I have it cranked up the first half hour and then lower it.
Right.
I do the same thing with the crock pot. I'll start it on high
And then bring it
and then bring it down because I just want to make sure it's going to hit that temperature quickly.
Yep.
Now,
yeah, it's slow cooking. It's not hurry up cooking.
That's exactly right. And if you need to just do something else and forget about it.
Yeah.
And if you have a slow cooker book, like a recipe book or your recipe, leave it alone because they know what they're talking about. It might sound like that's not going to work,
right?
But it's usually been tested and it should be right. So, and I also said earlier, don't lift the lid.
Yep. Don't take a peek.
No, that's right. That's why they have nice glass tops now. You don't need to take a peek.
Yep, you can look in there.
And luckily, you can add all the ingredients at the start most of the time, except if you're adding pasta, rice, or fresh herbs. You'll kind of do that towards the end.
Yeah, otherwise it just disintegrates.
That's exactly
mush.
Right.
Yeah,
that's exactly
That's the thing
right.
with some of the vegetables. Like, I would say most of your vegetables you want to put them halfway in, and then some you want to put at the end. The only one that I can think of at the end right now is mushrooms.
Yes. Yep, just something even like zucchini, maybe thinly sliced, or
because that's mushy.
A softer. Yeah, that's exactly right. And some recipes will have you sort of take the meat out and then cook the pasta because there's mac and cheese recipes.
Yeah,
and you kind of do the sauce first and then
put the pasta through it. Yep.
Now, how long should I cook a slow cooker recipe?
I don't know. Tell me, how long should you?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. So it usually takes 15 to 30 minutes. You cook it for 1 or 2 hours on high or 4 to 6 hours on low. So if that's you're doing in the oven for like to 30 minutes, you're going to do the two versions of that. But like we're saying, try to go low. So 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
That gives you enough time to go to work and get home too. The other one, if it's a bit longer, something you cook for 30 minutes, you do 1 hour in the slow cooker. 30 minutes to 1 hour. It's 2 to 3 hours on high or 5 to 7 hours on low. If it's something you're cooking 1 to 2 hours, so like a chook, you cook it 3 to 4 hours on high, 6 to 8 hours on low. And if it's 2 to 4 hours in the oven, you cook it for 4 to 6 hours on high or 8 to 12 on low. Root vegetables can take longer than meat and other vegetables, so put them near the heat source at the bottom of the pot.
The same thing with beans and stuff like that.
Yes.
That'd take a long time to do.
They do. Sometimes that actually freaks me out a little bit where the meat will be cooked through and I'm like, but the potatoes are hard.
Yeah. And some things you should never cook.
Well, I won't say never. Let's
never.
like...
Because some things like you have the first one is dairy. You might add it on after it's done and pour your cream into it or whatever to finish it off.
Yeah, but if you
you don't cook with it.
If you think you're going to make a cream of mushroom soup, you're not. That's not going to happen. Now, something like couscous, which is a very fine grain, it'll get mushy.
Yeah.
But you could throw that in. Like if you had like a sauce heavy sort of thing, you could put it in. And when it's on high, it's almost like at a simmer. So you cook that probably 15 minutes before you take it out. Same thing with rice.
Bunnies?
I know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Do you remember? Let's take our minds back.
Way back
to Glenn Close and Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah, I remember the movie, but I don't remember bunnies or that much of
he
the
walks
movie.
into the house and she's put the bunny in the pot. The pet bunny.
Ooh.
So that's why if someone's a little bit crazy, they're a bunny boiler.
Bunny boiler. Okay. Nope.
Oh, Phil.
She's a bunny boiler.
He could be as well. It's equal. It's equal across both sides of it.
Okay. We digress.
And
we got rice.
Yeah, you're not cooking rice in it.
No. Well, rice 620. We talked about rice before.
We have.
Yep.
Anna, are you listening?
It's the same thing with pasta. Pasta would just turn out to mush.
Unless you're doing like the lasagna recipe and that, which is sort of.
But it's almost like baking.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, boneless chicken breast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cook for a long time, lean meats can get super tough. Yeah, I know that.
That's why you always something with bone in.
Yeah, but that's what I was just talking about with chicken breast. It's just like it will kill it. You could use it for flavoring, then toss it out, give it to the dog. Maybe
Yeah.
if the dog will eat it.
Ralphie's
My
not the
cat
thing.
won't.
Ah, poor Army.
Yeah.
So raw meat, you really want to sear it before you throw it in. That's beef and lamb and pork. Although, you know what?
I read counted things on that from chefs saying that you really don't have to sear it.
Hmm.
But if you flour the meat, you want to sear it,
Yes, absolutely.
and that adds to the gravy of the meat.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it adds to the taste.
Yeah.
So extra fat.
Mhm.
So you don't really need to have that in there. Now, fat will increase the temperature, which can create inconsistent results,
Oh,
and it's not going to render like it does when you cook it in the oven
Yeah.
or on the hot plate.
Mhm.
And squishy veggies,
Yeah.
like you don't want something with asparagus in it.
Yeah.
All these veggies, so there's like asparagus, peas, spinach, tomatoes, eggplant, zucchini,
Yeah,
and more.
just like we just talked about. Even on the harder vegetables, you probably want to put them in halfway through.
Yeah.
You don't want to put them in at the beginning.
Now, I often use cut up like half an onion or a
Yeah.
couple of onions, like as a base.
Yeah.
But then I chuck those because they're all squishy by the end of
But
it.
there's some recipes like Gordon Ramsay has one for beef ribs,
Right.
which are really fatty.
Mhm.
But the sauce that it makes, because you're cooking it over, garlic and things like that, and you put wine into it, and then all the drippings just come down off of it. But then you put it into a sieve, and that's your sauce, and it's so rich after that.
Yeah, it would
So
be.
all your veggies that you normally wouldn't put in at the beginning, you do put on his slow cooking on that one for the sauce. So it makes this
Yum.
incredible sauce.
That is beautiful.
Yep. And no on the seafood.
Yeah.
It's because seafood's quick to cook.
Yeah, that's right. There's
Just
no
said
need.
with this shrimp or prawns the other day, if it gets into
Yeah,
a
if it's-
tight thing, it's not a C, it's
Yeah, the
overdone.
C is that's
Yeah.
right. So that only takes seconds, really.
Yeah.
Now, wine.
Yeah.
Now, I disagree with this a little bit.
Well, it has no way to escape, as I said, because when you cook it with wine, you put it into flambe or saute, and it's you're cooking the alcohol out of it.
But if I'm cooking like a pasta sauce or,
Yeah.
I'll put it, or my pot roast, but then I lift the lid off to reduce it. So that
Yeah,
might
and
do the
it's
job.
steaming it out.
I was clever and I didn't even know.
Yeah. There you
That's
go.
it. Well, there you go with some things you should not do.
Okay, so that wraps up this section, and we'll be right back with our final segment. We're back.
Yes, we are. Now we're back to a bit of housekeeping.
Yeah.
The-
And in April,
Is
anniversary.
because it's our anniversary, not us, but the shop.
The shop. 25 years.
That
25
is
biggies.
Amazing on so many levels. And
It is. It amazes me.
like I've been a customer for at least 24 of those
We've
25.
got a lot of long-term customers,
We do, and we still see them, and they still come in and ask after everyone, and it's fantastic. Now, if you are looking on the USA Foods website, you can click on the listener discount logo. You can search for it as well to get our discounts for the show. The store is open 7 days a week, so you can check the website for our hours. If you would like to subscribe to the podcast, which is great because you just wake up in the morning and it's there waiting for you. You can share and engage with us with
It's
the
like
podcast.
having us in your bedroom.
Yes,
It might be a good thing or a bad,
bad
thing. I
thing.
don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true. So you can engage with the podcast at podcast@usafoods.com.au. And very excitingly,
Yep. On Saturday, the 30th of April, it's the 25th anniversary sale.
it's going to be a big day. There's going to be a podcast,
Yep.
so we'll be there.
We'll be live and in person.
That's it. There'll be.
Giving autographs.
I don't think we've gone that far.
Oh, all right.
But there'll be prizes to win. There'll be food to eat.
Yeah.
There'll be
trucks
samples.
outside.
Oh, it'll be
It's
fantastic.
all on. And we probably even continue some things into Sunday because I talked to Phil Jr.
Yes.
And he's probably going to set the barbecue outside.
Fantastic.
And he wants me to make Detroit pizzas.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Very good. I might be at work 7 days that week. I will go for the pizza and and the company, of course. Now, so we will, if you can keep up and join the any of our socials, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the website, our email list, we will send out information more about what's going on, the time the podcast will happen, and all that good stuff. Phil is checking out my personal best product profile this week.
Yep.
Sweet Baby Ray's Ray's chicken sauce.
It's a sweet and smoky sauce made for chicken.
It is so good. It's almost
like a fried chicken, make a fried chicken sandwich.
That is it. Ainsley went out and
good on chips too.
Oh, it's good on everything.
Fingers.
It's very close. It's very similar. I was telling Sean because we were lucky enough to have Chick-fil-A sauce in, which will be coming back again, but I think it's flown out the doors on the site. But this is like its little cousin. It's very similar.
Mm-hmm. You can tell the color of Chick-fil-A because it was in a white bottle.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can't use the Chick-fil-A sauce on Sundays.
No.
The store's closed.
That's true. Or if you have an issue with that, you can get the Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah, and use that on the Sunday.
That's right. But it's sort of it's almost like if you put barbecue sauce and mustard and ketchup and everything good together. It's the best special sauce, and it's quite yummy. So that is my personal best product profile.
Okay. And now we go to Knowledge Nuggets.
That is it. Knowledge nuggets from your noggin.
All right.
That encouraged me.
All right, Barbara.
Yes.
What do you got?
Okay. Now,
this is when you don't have a vacuum sealer.
Yes, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, make sure when you're freezing things, like in a Ziploc, for example, make sure you just don't chuck it in there. You want to roll it. You want to get all the air out of it as much as you can because that's what's going to cause the freezer burn.
Yeah. Well, my nuggets is I would put it in Glad wrap first and then I double Glad wrap it.
Yeah. If it's something I know that might be hanging around. And then like you said before, and we both said right on the outside.
Right on the outside what it is. Exactly.
Because once it's double Glad wrapped and maybe foiled.
Even if it's not double Glad wrap, you put it in there, you have no idea a week later, what is that?
That is right. So you don't want any air to come in contact with it.
Yeah.
That is the point. So that is my nugget for this week.
Okay. And I was going to give mine off to Muffy again. But I do have a quick one, because we've been talking about pizza sauce and stuff like that. And this one, I think I might have mentioned it before, but not as a nugget, is put a dab of butter into your pasta sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Blends it out, smooths it, takes away some of the acidity of it. I stole that from some chef on TV that said, "Don't ever tell my mother or my grandmother I'm doing this." Okay, because not particularly big in their family being Italian, but they wouldn't understand. But it works.
And I have done that, and it does. You know who I saw do that? Marco Pierre White.
Ooh.
The man that made Gordon Ramsay cry.
Oh, wow.
Gordon Ramsay was one of his apprentices or sous chefs, and he made him cry. And I love that about the whole thing.
Okay, now we got Muffy's mom again.
Yes. Now
this is a strange one.
This is a strange one.
We haven't tried it, so try at your own risk.
Yes, that's right. So you can use orange juice and scrambled eggs instead of milk. Now, Muffy has said, her mom says it's good. I say gross, but I haven't tried it. So
she hasn't even tried it yet.
No. But if someone's brave enough to try that.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know, because I'm not trying that.
Yeah. All right, so we got Gus.
Yes, tell us.
From the American Licorice Company, which makes red vines.
Yes.
Okay. Has started a name contest through a social media website for the new Red Vines licorice person-shaped mascot to correspond with National Licorice Day on April the 12th. The winning entry will be chosen next month, and the confectioner will be rewarded to the winner with free candy for 1 year.
And
how much licorice could you eat in a year before you're like, oh?
Well, yeah.
Well, they make other things too.
They do.
Yeah, they make red licorice and black licorice and brown licorice.
And they had grape licorice too.
Yeah, grape. Okay. So next week's show, don't forget, come down to the shop if you're in Melbourne.
That's it.
All right, because we're going to be there. It's going to be all out for I don't know how the Ozzy say when something's happening? It's all out for Richie or something. I don't know. But
Full on.
it's full on, all out there.
Chuckle block.
Chock-a-block.
Ready for bed.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a tired Phil.
yeah, it's on 30th of April.
That's right.
I'll just be returning.
Yeah, Phil's making a special trip overseas, a special secret
mission
overseas, and so he will be back, and we will be plying him with coffee and sugar on this day as well. So we'll get a hold of Phil. So come on in, and you can, like I said, just have a look at our socials as well. So we will tell you all the special things that will be happening.
Okay, now you could do the sign off.
Okay. The smells of slow cooking spread around the house and impart a unique warmth matched only by the flavor of the food. So Yotam Ogalengi, sorry, I can't say it. I was practicing, but Yotam. He is the author of the cookbook Simple and a few other ones. He is magic. His food is beautiful. Yeah. So he knows about the slow cooking and the whole experience of it. So off I go to primer the crock pot.
Yep. Okay, go find your crock pots, do your slow cooking, and we'll be back.
See you next week.
Ooh, a love like mine, you know that love is true. Pork fat baby back blues.